Hold up. Every day I wake up.
Wake your ass up.
The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
Morning, everybody. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. What's up, Mimi?
Good morning, MB. Jess, Charlamagne, how y'all doing this
Peace,
morning?
Mimi Brown.
Good.
Good morning. So we begin this morning with overnight unrest in Minnesota following another shooting involving a federal law enforcement. This is the second shooting in just 1 week. So officials say a man was shot in the leg by a federal officer Wednesday night in North Minneapolis after what the Department of Homeland Security described as a violent struggle during an attempted arrest. Now, DHS officials, they say federal agents were conducting a targeted traffic stop just before 7 p.m. involving a man they say was in the country illegally. Now, DHS says the man fled his vehicle, crashed into a parked car, and then ran away on foot. Now, as word of the shooting spread, hundreds of protesters, they gathered near the scene. And during a late night press conference, officials, they addressed the city calling for calm. Let's listen to Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara.
Preliminary information indicates that there was a struggle with a federal agent in front of the resident. During the struggle, the federal agent discharged his weapon, striking one adult male. The adult male then retreated inside of the residence, where he remained inside and refused to come out. Eventually, federal agents made entry into the residence, and the individual was brought to an ambulance where he has been transported to the hospital. There's a crowd gathered in the area. They have thrown fireworks at police officers, and at multiple times, gas has been deployed. Police are attempting to disperse this unlawful assembly at this time. I urge anyone that is at the scene to leave immediately.
The DHS, they also say two other people then came out of a nearby apartment. They joined in the attack using a snow shovel and a broom handle. And during that struggle, the officer fired what DHS is calling defensive shots, hitting the original suspect in the leg. Two people are now in custody. And of course, this all comes just 1 week after a federal immigration agent shot and killed Renee Good. In that same press conference last night, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, he called for an end to the chaos. Let's listen to that.
This is not sustainable. Our officers, they are working tirelessly. Again, we have about 600 officers. There's about 3,000 ICE agents in border control. We need our officers responding to the basic day-to-day 911 calls. We don't have the capacity to both deal with that and all of this conduct that we're seeing from ICE on the daily basis. American citizens are getting picked up off the street by people in masks. That's not the way things should be conducted in any city in America. That's not who we are. That's not America. So I'm calling for peace. Everybody has a role in achieving that peace.
Yeah, so as of this morning, investigations into the shooting, they are ongoing, and those protests, they remain fluid.
That was the police chief, right, Mimi?
Yeah, the first one was the police chief. The last one was the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey.
Well, he's right. It's not sustainable on so many levels. And, as you said, maybe what makes the situation even worse is the fact that Renee Good just got shot and killed. Right. She was an American citizen. So everybody feels like they are in danger of ICE. So when they see another shooting so soon after Renee, they just feel like ICE is out to kill everybody. And all of this is a powder keg waiting to blow. How far does ICE and the federal government think they can push people before people push back? Like, ICE has a job to do. We understand that. But you can do your job without terrorizing people, because I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before the American people start pushing back.
I don't know if you remember, but that's what the guy called in and said yesterday. He said, enough's enough. Like, people are going to get to the point where it's like, no, you're not going to kick down my door, because if you do, I'm going to have a surprise for you. And people are going to start fighting back, like you said.
It's not going to be a surprise. Like, what's going to happen when an American citizen, hopefully not, but what's going probably to happen when they shoot back at an ICE agent? And then that's when all hell is going to really break loose, because you have a federal government who doesn't care what ICE does to people in this country, but they will care what people in this country do to ICE. But I just wonder, how far does ICE and the federal government think they can push people before they push back?
Yeah. And part of what people are saying is that they think ICE, this is exactly what the Trump administration wants. They want people to push back on ICE. They want the chaos in the street. This is what they're aiming for. So
why?
It makes no sense.
None at all.
Right. Don't know. And really quickly, the State Department is putting the brakes on immigrant visas for people from 75 countries. That's starting next week. The Trump administration says the pause is about money, specifically concerns that some new immigrants could rely on public assistance in the future. So that list is long. It's global. It includes countries across Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Caribbean, places like Nigeria, Ghana, Haiti, Jamaica. Brazil is on the list, Bahamas, Belize, among many, many others. Now, in a statement, the U.S. State Department said immigrants from these countries, they take welfare at what it calls unacceptable rates. This will only affect people who move permanently to the U.S., not tourists. So visitors and business visas, they are still being processed. This freeze, it is set to begin January 21st. It will stay in place indefinitely until the administration says it is confident that new immigrants will not rely on public benefits.
Well, how will Republicans find wives if they keep all those people out? All of their wives come from other countries. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, well, we shall see. All right, y'all. Well, coming up at 7, if you lost phone service yesterday, there's some new information, including what the company says comes next for customers. We'll break it down in the next hour.
Yeah, people who have Verizon was sick yesterday. Couldn't make any phone calls, nothing.
That's the crazy thing. One of my phones is Verizon, but that's the business phone. I don't usually be on that. I had no idea.
Yeah, I was out. People pissed off.
Crazy.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get back to some front page news. What's up, Mimi?
Mimi, I just want to say, girl, you giving Nanny Friends today, okay?
Nanny
you look
Fran?
really, really good. Yes.
Who is Nanny Fran?
I love
Nanny
her.
Fran. You remember Fran Drescher?
The nanny?
The
Yeah,
nanny
the
from
show.
back in the day.
Got you.
Yes, that's what
Ain't
she
nobody
did.
would hire Mimi as no nanny. Ain't no woman. Ain't no woman bringing no nanny that look like that in their house.
Unless she, yeah. You know?
You
All
crazy.
right, you right.
All right, y'all. Well, we start this hour in Texas. That's where more than 3.5 years later, that mass shooting at Robb Elementary School. Remember that, you guys?
Yeah,
Yes.
Tragic.
Yes.
Absolutely. That killed 19 children and 2 teachers. So for the first time, jurors are hearing that former school police officer, what he did and did not do in those critical moments before the shooting unfolded. Now, Adrian Gonzalez, who worked for the Uvalde School District Police, he is now on trial. Prosecutors say he failed to act as an active shooter was approaching the school back on May 24, 2022, even after being warned. Now, that gunman was inside the school for 77 minutes before law enforcement stopped him. And Gonzalez, he is charged with 29 counts of child endangerment and abandonment, one for each child who survived inside those classrooms. Now, in court, jurors, they heard testimony from a school aide who said she saw the gunman outside the building and repeatedly told Gonzalez where he was headed toward the 4th grade classrooms. Now, she testified that she urged him multiple times to stop the shooter before he went inside the school, but she says Gonzalez did nothing. Now, prosecutors, though, they are focusing heavily on training, arguing that this wasn't confusion or a split-second decision, but a failure to follow clear active shooter protocol. A former Dallas SWAT officer who trained Gonzalez testified that officers are taught to move toward the gunfire immediately. Let's listen to what he had to say in court.
When there's an active shooter, we cannot sit around and wait. We've got to stop the killing. You can't wait for backup. I know there are curriculums out there, sir, that teach, always wait for 2 or 3 more guys. In my opinion, and the way I train people, you don't have time to wait. You've got to make a move.
Well, prosecutors, they are also pointing to an interview that he did with investigators recorded the day after the shooting, where he admits that mistakes were made and he became focused on the wrong person. Let's listen to what that exchange sounds like.
When you guys made that entry into the hallway, there was 4 of you. Did anyone in that group of 4 say, hey, we need to go down this hallway and we need to find this shooter?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you think about that, or did it ever cross your mind?
It did cross our mind. Now that I can sit back, I went tunnel vision, like I said, with the lady that was running. Like I said, they said they were running to the school, and that's where I saw, and you know,
locked in on her.
I locked in on her. You know, that was my mistake, but it was just the adrenaline rush going, and you know, shots fired and stuff like that.
Well, the defense says that he is being unfairly blamed for a broader law enforcement failure and insists that the chaos and the gunfire, they made it impossible for him to act any sooner. But the outcome of this, it has a bigger outcome, which a lot of people are saying it could set precedent for whether officers can be held legally responsible for inaction during mass shootings. So we'll continue to watch that. That trial continues today.
Right.
Yeah, very, very sad. All right, and there is a small but important development in New York City's massive nurses strike this morning. So after 3 days of no movement, New York Presbyterian said it will sit down with the nurses union later today. Talks are scheduled for 5 p.m., marking the first sign of progress since the strike began. Now, this comes as nearly 15,000 nurses remain on the picket lines at New York Presbyterian, Montefiore. Am I saying that correctly? Montefiore. And Mount Sinai. Okay. And
you
Mount
asking
Sinai.
anybody in this room how to pronounce it?
Well,
that ain't gonna work well.
New York, right?
Montefiore.
Yeah, okay. I was
know.
right. So far, Montefiore and Mount Sinai, they have not agreed to return to the bargaining table. And the nurses,
It's
though,
Mount.
they
It's
say
Mount.
that-
It's Mount, not mountain. So just make sure it's Mount Fiore.
Mimi, I told you not to ask nobody in this room how to pronounce
It's not
it.
mountain.
I
It's
thought
Mount.
Envy would have knew.
No, it's Mount
Okay.
Fiore.
All right.
It's Mount.
Okay.
It's not mountain.
Mount Fiore and Mount Sinai, right?
Yep,
They
yep.
have not agreed to return to the bargaining table. So the nurses, though, they say their demands are simple: safer staffing levels, health care, real protection from violence on the job. Many say that overcrowding has become dangerous, with patients being treated in hallways instead of beds, and nurses stretched too thin to safely care for them. And so, though hospital leaders, though, they're pushing back, saying the care is continuing and it's improving. And they say that they've made lots of changes, including shorter ER times. But another major flashpoint is union discipline. Nurses at Mount Sinai say that some of the workers were written up and others have been fired for organizing ahead of the strike. Let's listen to what some of the nurses had to say earlier this week.
Over the weekend, we were unfairly disciplined by management, who falsely accused us of interfering with the work of their expensive temporary travel nurse brought to replace us, and who were coerced. We were coerced in training.
We will not be bullied by Mount Sinai, and we'll do everything we can to contest our unjust firings. But Mount Sinai must be held accountable. They cannot continue to discipline and punish nurses who speak out about patient safety and nurse safety.
Well, the hospital, they are denying any union busting, saying those nurses were disciplined for trying to sabotage the traveling nurses from doing their job. And as this strike continues, union leaders are now advising nurses to prepare to file for unemployment benefits if this stretches beyond 2 weeks. So
The craziest thing about the nurse situation is the nurse that called up here this morning and said that they're trying to take the nurses' health care. Like, what type of country do we live in when nurses
It's crazy.
who care for our health don't have health care? That's insanity.
Wow.
absolutely. So we will continue to watch that. And if you are a Verizon customer and your phone stopped working yesterday, the company says service is fully back on. Did that affect any of you guys yesterday?
No, and I have a Verizon phone.
Nah,
But
it affected people I knew, but not me
Yeah,
personally.
mine
but-
was cool.
Yeah.
But they couldn't use the phone. They couldn't text. They couldn't do a lot of
Damn.
things. Yesterday. Like, they were out of commission.
Yeah, they said it lasted for an entire 10 hours. It's now been
Damn.
resolved. Yes, 10 hours from noon yesterday to about 10 p.m.
Yep.
They said that most customers, your phone should be working. If not, just restart it to fully reconnect. It said that most people said that they weren't even allowed to call 911.
Oh,
during
hell
their
no.
phone. Yeah.
what
So it
happened
was-
though? What was it?
Well, they are not exactly saying. They were saying that most phones said SOS.
Yeah.
They just said the disruption, sorry y'all, it affected customers and you will receive a credit. But in order to receive that credit, Verizon said they will reach out to you personally or to your account. They'll send a text or an email or some kind of way to let you know what that may look like. And again, they have not said what it was, but a lot of people, like you said, Envy, on social media, they are frustrated. A lot of people said they are leaving Verizon.
They ain't going nowhere.
Over
People always
it.
say that.
Y'all ever seen that movie Leave the World Behind? I think
Yes.
Obama's produced it. And that was one of the 3-step theories of destabilizing a nation. It was isolation, synchronized chaos, and civil war. And it shows how cyber terrorism can destabilize a nation by shutting down its technology
tower,
because
yeah.
we're so dependent on
Relying on
technology.
that
Nobody could communicate. Nobody could make no call. Like all national communication shut down in the movie. The internet, televised media, phones, satellites, everything.
Yeah, it's very scary because if you think about it, you got a family with phones, and that's how y'all connect, right?
Yeah.
So even if you have kids, like yesterday, my daughter went on a field trip, and she had to call me to see what time I had to pick her up. But if she would have had Verizon, I would have had no clue. You know what I mean?
For a long time, they saying 10 hours.
Yeah.
But to go back what you said about the movie, Ethan Hawke's character in the movie said he was screaming and shouting to Kevin Bacon, and he was like, "Yo, I'm a man with no GPS. I don't know what to do with my life."
Yeah.
What? Like that was a line in the movie, but it goes to show you how much we rely on technology.
They didn't grow up like us. We grew up off maps, and we grew up off, I could describe directions.
Make it right at McDonald's.
That's right. There's going to be a red mailbox right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to that red mailbox, it's going to be a sign of a chicken. Then you make the left with the sign of the chicken, and I'm right there on the corner.
Yep.
True.
Yeah, I would be lost without GPS. Okay, so I'm with you on that one, Jess. I don't know. I barely know my left from my right. So there's that.
Damn, Mimi.
I'm just, being honest. All right. And so before we go, a moment to honor the greatest. So Muhammad Ali, he is getting a forever stamp, which are out today. United States Postal Service, they are officially honoring Ali's life and his legacy. USPS says it has printed 22 million stamps, and once they're gone, they're gone. They will not be reissued. And because they're forever stamps, they'll always be valid. So you may want to grab yours sooner than later.
Does Donald Trump know about this?
That is a good question. This was probably years in the making before, but
So was the Harriet Tubman 20. What happened to that?
What did happen to the Harriet Tubman 20? But it's being released today on Martin Luther King's birthday. They said that is intentional. So
yes.
We want to support that. And before we end, I just want to say happy Founders Day to my sorority, the lovely ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Hey,
Nice.
AKAs.
That's right.
Yes, girl, you looking good. That's why you got on the colors.
That is why.
Got
Would
you
you call me Franny, the nanny?
Yeah,
earlier?
Nanny Fran. Yes, you look like Fran Drescher.
Yes.
Why you ain't do y'all mating call, Mimi? What's the call y'all be doing?
Don't you do it, Charlotte.
Charlotte, no.
But no, y'all got a call. Don't they got a call?
What is it? No.
I can't do it.
What?
Sing, what you call it? Sing Sexy Red song.
Sexy Red?
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. Do it, Mimi. You got to do your call.
Pinky's in the air, Mimi.
Pinkies in the air. All right. Ski-wee to all my lovely ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
All right,
All right,
Mimi.
y'all. Well, that is your front page news. I'm Mimi Brown. Follow me at Mimi Brown TV. For more stories, follow the Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app or visit BINnews.com.
Thank you, Mimi.
Thank you, Mimi.
Peace, Mimi.
Thank you.
Hold up. Every day I wake up. Wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?